Hey everybody, good morning. How are you? My name is Attorney Charles Zavala from Zavala Texas Law. We are an immigration law firm based here in Houston, Texas, but we can help you no matter where you are in the USA or even if you're abroad, as long as it has to do with US immigration. So we make these videos talking about topics, questions, current events that are going on. So if you want to stay up to date or you like the videos we're doing, please subscribe, please like, please follow us on all the social medias. We have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm trying to be social media savvy, so we should have them all. But today I have a video regarding a topic that's really important to people. And I've actually done videos about this in the past, but it's a question that keeps on coming up and people send me this question and want to know more about it. So what I want to talk about today is how does a person get their green card, also known as legal permanent residence, through marriage? Okay, so a lot of people hear, okay, or they say, hey, someone can fix themselves or fix some papers or get immigration status through marriage. But what does that really mean? All right, so let's just back it up. So essentially, there's some people who may fight me on this, but I'm gonna try to dumb it down to make it easy. But let's just say there's 3 levels of immigration, right? This isn't written anywhere in the books. This is an easy way that I process it. The highest level is a citizen. Right? That's what I am because I was lucky to be born here. That's people who become citizen, things along those lines. You have certain rights when you're a citizen that are great. You can't be deported. Well, that's the most important one that has to do with immigration, right? But one step below that is something called a green card holder or legal permanent resident. So before you can become a citizen, you have to be a resident, and then you kind of graduate to becoming a citizen. But the question is, all right, well, how do we become a permanent resident? Do I just sign a piece of paper and we're good? Nah. So underneath the resident, there's other visas. So there can be tourist visa, student visa, certain work visas. So there's always different classifications on how you come into the country. But the people want the green card because it's good because, hey, you get to now live in the USA permanently. It's in the name, legal permanent resident, and you get to work here. You get to travel. It's great. And then after a while, you can now graduate to become a citizen. It's called naturalization, but you can just call it citizenship. So the $1 million question is, how do you become a green card holder, right? Because that's what a lot of people want, because that lets them live here and stay here without an expiration date. So this video is going to explain how to get that through marriage, right? We've done other videos that are based off of employment, but this one's through marriage. So if you marry, and this video is going to be if you marry for citizens. You could also marry residents, and it's kind of a different path depending on where you are. Give me a call, we can talk about it. But in this example, let's say I, Charles, am from, well, what's an interesting country? Whatever country in the world, right? And I meet my wife who's a US citizen. Okay, great. So let's say we get married. There's 2 ways for me to get my green card through marriage. One of them is if I am already in the USA legally, right? So that means, let's say I came here on a student visa and I'm here, we get married, right? Or let's say I came here on a work visa and I'm working here, we get married. Or I came here on a tourist visa and I'm here visiting and we get married, right? It doesn't matter if I have overstayed my visa. So normally visas, when they give it to you, they say you can be here from this date until this date. But if you overstay that and you marry a US citizen, you can still apply while you're in the USA because the government's going to look at your entry. The last time you entered the country, was it legal or not? And it was, because I entered on my visa. I just overstayed. So I'm in trouble because I overstayed, but I entered legally, and that's the big picture, or the important thing here. So let's say I entered legally and I overstayed, or let's say I didn't, and then I marry my wife. She's a US citizen. We can do what's called adjustment of status. You don't really need to worry about the name. That's the name of the application, the whole process. But long story short, we are getting your green card through marriage. That's option 1, right? Option 2, same thing, but I'm not in the country. I'm outside the country, right? Let's say we get married and then I decide to go back to my country. Well, hey, I can still get my green card through marriage, but it's going to be a different process. I'm not going to be able to do it while inside the USA because I'm not in the USA, right? So some forms are the same, some are different, but here you're going to be going through the consulate of your country, which most people do whenever they get visa. So if you got a tourist visa, a student visa, you usually go to an interview at your home country's consulate. All right. So those are the two ways to get your green card through marriage, if you're in the USA or outside of the USA. Okay. So now that we know that those are the two ways, let's talk about it. What do you need? What's needed? How do people get from point A to point Z and are done with all this stuff? So for the purpose of this video, and it kind of applies to both, I'm gonna pretend I'm inside the country. If you're outside the country, no worries. You can give us a call and we can still help you. There's no problem. But step one is this: you have to show that you are married to a U.S. citizen, right? And that's what we do with what's called the, and I'm gonna say a bunch of form names. I'm sorry, these are just what USCIS calls all the forms. You don't have to remember them, but you can jot them down. So you have to show that you and your partner are married, right? And that's what's called on a Form I-130 petition. And all that is paperwork, information about you, information about your spouse. And two, you have to show that the relationship exists, right? So how do you do that? Marriage certificate, photos of you two together. If you have children together, you need to show that it's a bona fide relationship, right? Makes sense. If you're trying to get your green card through marriage, prove to the government you're married. Seems fair. So that's one of the applications you have to do. Next, there's going to be a work permit. Chances are you probably want to work while you're waiting here in the USA. So you would be applying for a work permit. Once again, that's just a bunch of paperwork, documents, and you would be applying it through a certain category because you're getting married to a citizen. So you can get a work permit for all sorts of things if the government allows, but there's different categories. So if you're getting married to a citizen, it's from one category. If I'm getting it through work, it's a different category. If I'm getting it through something else, different category. Also, a really important thing that you're going to need to do is apply for a travel permit. You know, and what we do at our office, we do everything at once. It's a one-stop shop. We apply everything at once. We don't nickel and dime you. It's a one charge you once, and we do all of the paperwork at once. And the travel permit is very important because while your application is processing here in the USA has a very dumb rule that says you cannot leave the country while your paperwork is being processed because we will think you abandoned your case. That's not true, right? I mean, a lot of people have to leave because they have family emergencies, because tons of reasons. But that's the way the government plays, USCIS. So what we do is we also ask for a travel permit. It's called an I-131 travel permit. And ultimately what we're telling the government is, look, government, I'm in the USA, I'm applying for my green card, I'm also applying for this travel permit, so if you approve my travel permit, I can now travel freely and not have to worry about you guys abandoning my my application, right? Makes sense. So that's another form you have to do. A very important form is called the I-864, it's Affidavit of Support. So Uncle Sam, or the government, wants to say, look, Charles, you're marrying your wife who's a US citizen, we want to make sure you're not going to be a drag on the US economy, right? So until you get your green card, until you then later will become citizen, your wife needs to prove that she makes enough money to support you and her and whoever lives in your household, right? So how do we do that? Once again, it's paperwork, forms, and then with tax returns, wages, things along those lines. If you do not make enough money to support, and the way you would know is you can look online because it'll tell you exactly how much you need to make on the USCIS. It's called the Federal Poverty Guidelines. If you don't, you can get a co-sponsor. That's no problem. We have lots of clients who are young in their relationship that don't have the money yet to support it, so they get their parents to co-sponsor, right? No big deal. So that's another form you're going to have to do. And then lastly is the big one. It's the I-485. This is the one to change your status from whatever you are into your green card. So once again, all these forms, I recommend you put them together. That's what we do. We do them all at once, send all the evidence at once, so that the time can start processing. And you're going to ask yourself, whoa, how long does it take to process? And that's what's really important. So here, I'm looking on this screen over here. I got another monitor. It tells you how fast they were processing the green card with I-485 based on the years. These numbers are a little bit loose, but let me just tell you what's going on. So back in 2017, they were processing them in about 8 months, okay? 2018 was 10 months. 2019 was 11 months, so it's going up. 2020 it went down back to 9 months. 2021, it went to 13 months. And 2022, we're noticing more than 12 months. So I actually think these numbers are a little generous. In our office, we've been noticing green cards are taking about 12 to 16 months, right? And that has nothing to do with us. Once we send it off, it's in the hands of Uncle Sam. But that's what's important. You know, if it's going to take this long to process, you want to make sure that you're just not sitting here twiddling your thumbs the entire time, right? Not being able to work, not being able to travel. So that's why we ask for the work permit and the travel permit. Usually the work permit and travel permit will arrive sooner. It used to take maybe 3 to 5 months, guys, but lately we've been having some that have arrived fast, and then we've had some that have been arriving almost over a year. And it sucks because we can't control it. We can complain to immigration, but the reaction or the action they take isn't really worth it. Sometimes they'll just tell you, hey y'all, your application's still processing, sorry. So that's why it's important to get on this, get the ball rolling. So this was the explanation if you do it inside the USA, right? If you are outside the USA, it's really the same process, just different forms and in different timelines, okay? But ultimately, the important thing is you have to be married to a US citizen, and we have to prove that it's a real relationship, okay? And then you have to have the financial assets to be able to sponsor the person you're bringing, okay? So if you are married to an immigrant or someone from another country and you're interested in helping them get their green card, this is a fantastic video. Watch this as many times as you need. If you need, y'all can always call us, schedule any appointment. All the appointments are with me personally via the phone. I speak English, I speak Spanish. And I'll explain to you what we can do and then how our office can help you, because it is a very important stage in a relationship to get your green card through marriage, but it's also a very big life stage, right? Because I mean, your whole life is changing now that you're coming to the USA to get your green card. So I hope this video clarified to anybody that has questions on how to get the green card, the marriage route. So remember, you need to marry a US citizen, and then you need to assess. Or you don't have to marry first, but have it in the plans. If you plan on getting married, then so you have to have a US citizen, and then 2, you need to figure out, are you in the country or are you out of the country? And then we will take those paths, right? So yeah, that's how long it's taking right now, guys. I would say 12 to 16 months. As for filing fees, the government's always going to charge you, right? They're not cheap. So for the entire green card process, it's going to cost you in filing fees to the government about $1,760 or $1,800, $1,800 if you don't want to worry about change. But yes, and that'll be need to pay to the government when you send your applications, right? So if you guys have any questions, guys, feel free to like our video, subscribe, give us a call. I'm more than happy to help any way we can. And then keep on checking out our videos that are about these subjects, because we make them for you and we love the feedback, okay? So once again, guys, my name is Charles Zavala here from Zavala Texas Law. Have a beautiful day. Thanks.